Today, we're looking at a really powerful source material. It's a personal story from someone named Jessica called Building a Real Home.
Yeah, it's a true story, and
Yeah.
it's quite something. It really gets into how life can just, you know, throw curveballs that shake everything up, your relationships, your plans.
Right, and how you have to figure out what building a home even means when things don't go like you thought they would.
Exactly. So our goal here isn't just to retell the story
No, we want to dig into it, find those key moments, the decisions Jessica and Eric made.
and pull out the lessons, really. Lessons about resilience, loyalty. What happens when you have to redefine family?
So the main people are Jessica, she's an interior designer in New York City, right?
Living that fast-paced city life. And then there's Eric. He's a Delta pilot.
So completely different worlds, up in the air versus grounded in the city.
That contrast is there right for the beginning.
Yeah.
It kind of sets up the central question, doesn't it? Can these two different lives really build one home together?
It does. So how did they even cross paths? Designer in NYC, pilot flying everywhere.
Through a mutual friend, actually, someone named Clara. Jessica implies Clara was pretty intentional about setting them up.
Ah, the matchmaker friend. And that first meeting sounds like it wasn't just a quick coffee.
Oh, not at all. They
No.
met near Central Park. Supposed to be maybe an hour. It turned into over 3 hours.
Wow.
And Jessica talks about, yes, the attraction, but it was the conversation.
Hmm.
They went deep. Fears, dreams, stuff they didn't usually share.
Mm. And there's something Eric said then that really jumps out. Something about being up in the clouds.
Yes, that line is so telling. He said something like, every time I'm up there, I think about the ground, about whether there's someone down here I could count on when I come back.
Oof. That really captures the loneliness, doesn't it? Always moving, looking for an anchor.
Exactly. That need for stability, for someone solid.
And that need was tested right away, I imagine, with his job, the distance.
Oh, yeah. Big time. Weeks apart were just normal for them.
So how did they build the relationship?
Well, it was built across the miles. Lots of pictures from airports, voice notes, late night calls trying to sync up time zones.
That takes real effort.
It does. Jessica mentions this little ritual she had waiting for him back in New York, with coffee and a smile, just ready for his return. Shows that commitment.
So even with the distance, they're building something solid. What was the moment, the turning point that made them think about like a real home together, physically?
That happened one night by the Hudson River. Bridge lights, the whole scene. Eric takes her hand and just asks it.
Asks the big question.
Yeah. Basically, can we actually do this?
Mm.
Two lives this different. Can we build a home?
And Jessica's answer, I love this line. It's kind of their mission statement, isn't it?
It really is. She says, you don't build a home with matching bricks. You build it with pieces that complete each other.
That's beautiful and
Yeah.
powerful.
Totally. And that belief, that idea, that's what they decided to marry on, that their differences weren't a weakness, but maybe the way they fit together.
But not everyone was convinced, right? Family had concerns.
Jessica's mom, especially, she lived in Boston and she was worried. Practical stuff. Eric's job is dangerous. He's gone all the time.
Valid concerns for a parent.
Absolutely. And Eric's family was way out in Seattle, so that added another layer. But Jessica and Eric, they had this conviction about their connection, about completing each other.
So they decided to move forward, and part of that was finding an actual house.
Yep, they bought a place just outside the city.
Mm.
Jessica describes it, big windows, white kitchen, and she mentions the spare room.
Ah, the spare room.
Yeah, she says it sat,
Yeah.
quietly waiting, like a blank canvas.
Yeah.
And you instantly know what that represents.
Hope, potential, the future they're planning.
Exactly. The house becomes this symbol. Eric buys lovebirds,
Classic.
and Jessica puts plants in that spare room. She admits later she was secretly hoping it'd one day become our child's room.
So the dream of family was already there, filling that space.
Definitely. It wasn't just unspoken hope either. They
Yeah.
talked about it.
How did that conversation go when Jessica brought up kids?
She brought it up kind of gently one night, and Eric's reaction, pure enthusiasm. He apparently looked up from his flight plans, big smile, and said, "Are you kidding? I've always wanted a little girl. One that looks just like you."
Aw, that must have felt amazing for her. Confirmation.
Totally validating. And then they just dove in, right?
Yeah, planning mode activated.
Talking for hours, picking names, doodling nursery designs,
Yeah.
sketching out that future.
They were really building that dream together, brick by brick, you could say.
They were. But then life throws that curveball we talked about. the unexpected detour.
This is where the story shifts, isn't it? The doctor's appointments start.
Mm-hmm. Tests, waiting, more tests. The usual stressful process.
And then the news?
Yeah, the news that changes everything. Jessica says the doctor's voice was calm, but the words just hit. Jessica, I'm sorry. Your body won't be able to conceive naturally.
Man, shattering.
Completely shattering. It wasn't just medical info. It was like the foundation of the future they were actively designing just crumbled.
And you feel her pain, obviously, but she also focuses on Eric's reaction, right? His unspoken pain.
It's really poignant. He holds her, says all the right things. We're a team. Whatever happens, we face it together.
Which is huge, that loyalty.
Crucial. But Jessica sees it. She sees the hurt he's trying to hide. She notices him glancing at that empty spare room.
The room full of hope.
Just for a second, then looks away. That little detail says so much about his own loss, even while he's being strong for her.
Yeah, that silence around the pain. It feels heavy.
It really does. And Jessica struggles with it. She ends up talking to her friend Clara, breaking down.
The matchmaker friend.
Yeah. And Clara gives her this advice. Maybe it's time you talk. Really talk. Because the pain of silence, it's louder than any truth.
That's powerful advice. Push through the silence.
It is. And Jessica decides she needs to find the right time to really talk to Eric about all of it. But before she can.
Something else happens.
Yeah. Incredible bomb drops. Eric's parents show up.
Just show up, unannounced.
Unannounced. Eric's not even home. And somehow, they already know about the fertility issues.
Whoa, how? And what do they want?
Well, how they knew becomes important later. What they wanted was brutal. His mother basically tells Jessica to leave him.
What?
Yeah. This quote Jessica gives is chilling. So if you truly care, let him go. Quietly. Don't tell him we spoke.
Quietly, just disappear.
Their justification. It's for his good. They said she'd trap him in a life without a real family.
A real family, meaning biological. Wow, that's incredibly cruel.
It's defining family in the narrowest way possible. And basically saying Jessica isn't enough. She said it felt like the air was knocked out of her. She argued, cried.
I can only imagine. And after they leave, she talks to Clara again, the friend who told her to talk.
Yes, and Clara's reaction is strange. Kind of siding with the parents, suggesting maybe they have a point.
That's odd, especially given her earlier advice.
Very odd. And it sets up the next twist. Because this story isn't just about navigating infertility, it's also about betrayal.
Okay, so what's the twist?
It comes from an unexpected source. Eric's sister, Amy.
What does Amy reveal?
Amy calls Jessica, and she just lays it out. Tells her, Clara told them about everything.
Clara, the friend, she told his parents.
That's what Amy says. And the reason, according to Amy, she was jealous of how much he loves you.
Oh my God. Jealousy. That's devastating.
Unbelievable, right? Amy begs Jessica, please don't leave him. And Jessica says that phone call, learning about Clara's betrayal, it changed everything.
I bet. Betrayal from a friend on top of everything else. How did she handle finding out about Clara?
She confronted her right away, called her up. Clara apparently stuttered, denied it, but Jessica said she could just hear the guilt.
So she knew.
Yeah. She told Clara, you lied, you ruined something beautiful, and just cut her off. Get out, stay out of our lives. End of friendship.
Hard but necessary after that. Wow.
So now all this, the grief, the parental pressure, the friend's betrayal, it's all out in the open.
And she still hasn't had that real talk with Eric yet, the one Clara initially suggested.
Right, but now the context is totally different. So when Eric gets home, she tells him everything.
About his parents' visit, Clara. Yeah. Her own doubts.
All of it. Lays it all bare. Said she wasn't sure if their story was over. Just complete vulnerability.
How did Eric take it, especially about his parents?
He was furious with his parents. He confronted them.
Yeah.
Told them they had no right, that Jessica was his wife, his choice, his future.
Good for him, standing up for her.
But his mother apparently doubled down, gave him an ultimatum.
Seriously, what was it?
It's her. Or us.
Unbelievable, putting him in that position.
Horrible. But Eric, he'd already made his choice, really, before he even spoke to them, probably.
You think so?
Well, when he came back to Jessica after that call, he just took her hands and said it.
Yeah.
I made my choice. You. Always you.
Wow. Okay. That's loyalty. Choosing his partner, his chosen family, over the family trying to tear them apart.
Exactly. It's him redefining his family right there. It's them.
So, with that decision made, that line drawn, what was next? How did they move forward from there?
They decided to face it together, whatever it was. Eric's words were something like, let's try. Go to doctors. See if there's still a chance.
Keep exploring medical options.
Right. If not, we'll adopt if you want to. The key part was, we'll build our family, one way or another.
One way or another, that determination. Okay, so they have a path, even if it's uncertain.
A shared path. And then the narrative jumps. 5 years later,
5 years. What does their real home look like then?
well, the house is still there, outside New York. Sun through the windows. But the sounds are different. Laughter. And, as Jessica puts it, tiny footsteps.
So the spare room, the blank canvas.
Is no longer blank. It's totally transformed. A kingdom of toys, storybooks, and glittery stars on the ceiling.
Because of?
Luna, their daughter.
They adopted.
Yes. They adopted Luna from an orphanage when she was 3. She's 8 now in the story. Jessica describes her chestnut curls, bright smile. She's the heart of the home they built.
That's wonderful. And what about Eric's parents after the ultimatum?
Jessica says simply they chose to walk away.
Wow. They stuck to their guns, huh? Never met Luna.
Never met her. They made their choice.
Sad. But what about Amy, Eric's sister, the one who revealed Clara's betrayal?
Amy stayed connected. She calls, visits, reads Luna bedtime stories. Jessica says very clearly she's family.
That distinction is so important, isn't it? Family defined by action, by love, by showing up.
Exactly, not just biology or obligation. Loyalty, presence.
And Jessica's final thought in the story, it kind of brings it all back together, doesn't it?
It really does. She reflects, we didn't build a perfect home, we built a real one.
Perfect versus real, that's the core of it.
And her definition of happiness. It's not about getting that original perfect plan. It's about a right decision, a loyal heart, and a little girl who calls you mom.
That hits hard. And she says the story ends for now. It's ongoing.
Yeah, life continues, building continues.
So, wrapping this up, what do we take away from this deep dive into Jessica's story? It started with that question by the river, right? Can different lives build a home?
And the answer seems to be yes, absolutely. But it also became about, what does that home look like when the blueprint gets completely torn up?
Yeah.
And I think it shows that a real home isn't about avoiding problems. It's about how you face them together. Resilience wasn't about bouncing back to the original plan. It was about adapting, choosing each other, finding a new way forward.
As a team, that loyalty piece feels huge. Eric's choice, you. Always you. That's everything. And Jessica choosing to trust him with the awful truth from his parents and Clara.
That's the bedrock they rebuilt on. And it just completely dismantles that narrow idea of family his parents had. Family became about commitment, love, presence, being those pieces that complete each other.
So the happiness they find isn't this easy fairy tale happiness, it's earned.
Definitely. Earned through tough choices, through loyalty, through actively building the family they wanted, even though it looked different. It's joy in the real, not regret for the perfect that wasn't meant to be.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? What does resilience mean when life just throws you completely off course? Is it about fighting to get back to the original path?
Or is it about finding the courage to make those hard choices, to maybe redefine what success or happiness even looks like for you, and build something new from there together?
Yeah. What are those unexpected challenges you might face? And how would you define and then build a real home, a real family through them? Something to definitely mull over.